Drivers and Danica, start your engines!
Pull those belts down tight one more time. Warm up those tires. Hit your marks and let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, Indycar, Formula One, Formula E, NHRA, and local dirt track and drag strip racing talk. This is the fastest hour in radio.
Where'd you go? Where's your home? How'd you end up all alone? Can you hear me now? Hear me now.
Here's your host, Steve West and Dustin Harmer, with producer John Myers.
Plenty to get to, but you know what? We got plenty of time.
Yeah, we got plenty.
We've been extended, at least on Father's Day weekend, by 30 minutes. So we got 2 hours to go and a lot of stuff to get to.
Yeah, I got to get comfy in this chair.
Yep. Settle down, settle in, be relaxed. Feel ready at any point in time.
Yeah.
To go ahead and call us as well.
Yeah, sure.
941-1011, toll-free 866-551-9933. Maybe you don't want to call, but you still want to get your voice, quote-unquote, heard. Go to social media, facebook.com/the fastest hour in radio.
Yeah, and you can also visit us on the Twitter page, which always gets crazy. Go to twitter.com, look up at fastest hour, and you'll be on our page.
Absolutely. I'm Steve West. That's Dustin Harmer. How are you?
Ask me in 2 hours.
How are you feeling tentatively right now?
No, I feel great. It's good. It's Saturday, and it's time for another awesome show.
And then the guy that makes it all happen answers the phones when you call.
Yeah.
John Myers.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing great.
I like the shirt.
What's up with all the crazy crazies as they call in? I can't see him. I see his hat.
Yep. His shirt says, I can't take it anymore.
Oh, well, we know how you feel this morning.
Yes.
You can't take it, man. All right. So a lot of changes coming up this weekend. We've been kind of teasing them all weekend long. You just heard it right before this. So we're going to be 2 hours this weekend, special Father's Day weekend. So, by the way, to all the dads that are out there, including the ones that we remember that are not with us anymore, happy Father's Day.
Yes, happy Father's Day.
You're a dad. You're a dad.
Yes.
Dustin and John, happy Father's Day to the both of you. Me, I've got 3 dogs.
You're still a dad.
So
Close
you're-
enough.
yeah, you're a
They're
dad.
still they're your children.
Yeah. They're nuts is what they are.
Of course, you know us. We can't just open the door and say, "Yo, get outside."
Well, you could.
We
Even
can.
though we wish we
But that would be
could.
like mid '80s. You know, when people
Yeah, late
when
70s,
actually went
early
outside.
and mid 80s, back when kids actually went outside, and mom would look at me and go, "It's not my weekend for lunch. I don't want to see you until the street light comes on."
That's right. I miss those days.
I remember those days well. And the reason I say that is because my mom was involved with about 4 or 5 other families in a carpool. So every weekend, not only would they carpool during the week, but they would trade off who did lunch during that weekend.
Ah,
So if it wasn't her weekend, I had to be out of the house right after breakfast, whenever that happened to be, which is usually right after the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show.
oh yeah.
And then after that, I was forced out of the house and was not expected back until streetlights came on.
Yeah. See, now you can't.
And
even-
that's summertime. Remember that.
Well, I mean, nowadays, parents don't see their kids anyway because they're just in a room on a game or something.
Yeah,
So it's kind
exactly.
of like the same thing, except they're not.
Pasty white.
Yeah, it's just pretty much.
sun deprived.
Yeah, sun deprived. I like that. Sun deprived.
Get out. Go watch some racing.
Yes.
That's where you need to
Take
be going.
dad and go to the track.
That's right. Let's go ahead and talk about let's go ahead and talk about last weekend, because history was made last weekend. Last Saturday, specifically. The first ever Mexican-born driver claiming a win in a national NASCAR Series event took place last Saturday when Daniel Suarez got by the moonlighter Kyle Busch and claimed the win over the most dominant driver of the race. Despite his moonlighter status in that series, Busch led 88 of the 125 laps, but let Suarez by in the final 2 laps, so Suarez goes on, gets his first ever win in either Camping World Truck Series or, in this case, Xfinity Series. He has yet to run a race in the Sprint Cup Series. We'll see what he can do there. And I imagine pretty soon, if all things are to be heard.
And that's where it's kind of that double-edged sword. You want to see what they can do, but at the same time, we've seen what happens when those guys come up a little too early.
Sure.
So
He's got racing experience.
He
He's
does.
24 years old, out of Monterrey, Mexico. He's running the NASCAR Mexico Series for a while. This is his second year running in the secondary series. He was in Camping World Truck Series not too long ago as well. So he's got experience there. He's got Xfinity Series experience. He's learning. I don't think they're fast-tracking him, and I don't think that Matt Kenseth is leaving anytime soon, but I think probably within the next 2 to 3 years, Matt Kenseth will probably step down and retire, and I think Suarez is the guy who takes it over.
And that would be a great time frame. I mean, you're looking at 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Really, cutting his teeth down there in the series underneath, getting a chance to. Well, I mean, he races against Sprint Cup drivers every week, Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
In the races. So I mean, that's another thing. But he did real well.
He did. He's solid. He's not panicking.
Yeah.
He doesn't freak out around them. Some of the drivers, you can kind of tell, they start to realize that, hey, you got the 18 or you got the 40. Kyle Larson runs a lot. You got Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano who run a lot in the secondary series. And you can kind of tell. Some of them, they'll see that guy in the rearview mirror, and it's like all the drivers, what they used to talk about when it came to Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Freak out.
They'd see the black 3 looming large in their rearview mirror, and suddenly it was like, okay, now what do I do? Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's the bad thing. That's the thing I think I hate the most about the Moonlighters down in the lower series is the fact that these guys are they're just getting in there doing their thing, but they can't really just focus on what they need to do and hone their skills because they're so worried about that guy that comes behind them because we hear about him every single week.
Yep.
So you think, oh, this is it. The race is over. I can't win. This guy's going to take it from me. And then your psyche is just messed up.
Yep.
But
either way, Daniel Suarez not only claims his first ever win, becomes the first Mexican-born driver to claim a win in the NASCAR Top 3 Series. He's also the first non-American-born driver to become a points leader in any of NASCAR's 3 national series.
that's awesome.
So that all adds to his resume, which includes Xfinity Rookie of the Year, the first Mexican to claim that title as well last year. Kyle Busch settled for second, trailed by Moonlighter Paul Menard, Eric Jones, and then Elliott Sadler round out your top 5. 6 through 10 included Moonlighter Joey Logano, the aforementioned, along with Alex Bowman, Justin Allgaier, Darrell Bubba Wallace Jr., and Brandon Jones. So now we can also, finally, add a third name to the list of Xfinity Series chase drivers for the end of the season. We have Suarez, obviously, Eric Jones, and Elliott Sadler, who all have wins. Rest of your top 12 in points without wins featuring Ty Dillon in the wake of Michigan, along with Justin Allgaier, who jumps up after having a bad week the weekend before. Brandon Jones, Brendan Gaughan, Brennan Poole, there's your 3 Bs all together again.
Yeah.
Darrell Wallace Jr., Ryan Reed, Blake Cook, and Ryan Sieg fill out your top 12.
I tell you what, did you get to see a lot of that race?
I didn't get to see hardly any of it.
I about to say I got to see a little bit of, but I went on and I looked at a lot of the replays and stuff. Suarez, I don't know where he came from on this race, but he had the car. It was weird seeing him be able to go to that top side and really carry the speed out of the turns. He was making moves that a lot of the guys wish they could.
Here's the question then.
Okay.
Because we know Joe Gibbs Racing has a fantastic Xfinity Series program.
Oh,
we've known that for a long time.
Stellar.
A lot of it, as we know as well, depends on how the car is set up. And it may just have been that Suarez's car was better on the long runs than the vast majority of everybody else. And when the Kyle Busches and the Kyle Larsons and the Darrell Wallace Jr.'s and the Justin Allgaiers and all those guys see their cars start to fall off, it's just that Suarez's car just wasn't falling off as much.
Yeah.
That may have been the case. Again, I didn't get to see hardly any of it.
And everybody knows you go into a race and you've got that game plan. You've got that pre-race plan, how you're going to attack things when you're setting up. Initially, when you get off the truck, when you pull that car off the truck, off the truck, you're going for that setup. You're trying to figure out which one's going to work. A lot of guys go for the shorter run because they're waiting for that late race caution that always flies and they're not ready for it. Or they go for that long run like we've seen in Michigan where we get those long green flag runs.
Yeah.
And that's where you kind of set it up for it. But sometimes by the end of the race, your setup that was just awesome. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Just totally goes completely away. Make those wrong adjustments. It's just a lot of people, they talk about the fact that they say that it's not a sport and it's just people going in circles. There is so much more to this that people don't realize.
There's a lot of clueless people out there. And the one that gets me the most, he's back on ESPN. His name was Max Kellerman. He used to do the little game show thing where he's got the 3 people that are on the camera before, I forget what the name of it. It's not Outside the Lines.
Pardon the interruption.
No, it's the other one.
The other one. They have so many, I can't keep track.
Anyway, he used to host that, and he asked one time right about the Daytona 500, and the guy one guy, it was Tim Calishaw out of Dallas, Texas, was excited about the Daytona 500. Kellerman gets on there and goes, "Why would I be interested in watching something that I end up doing every day?" I said, you may get into a rush hour every day where you get a group of 42 other cars around you because it was 43 cars in starting lineup at that point in time, but you're not doing 200 miles an hour because you're a moron if you think that you can actually equate rush hour to what happens at Daytona, Talladega, or quite frankly, Michigan.
Yeah, not to mention you're just a few inches away from another car who's doing the same exact speed, trying to do the same thing as you, and all of the movement and the air and everything else.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to this than a lot of people give it credit for.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we do this show.
That's right.
Sunday was weird.
Yes.
Dawn, the first event to get underway, scheduled to get underway first, by the way, was the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Michigan. Another driver able to add his name to the Sprint Cup chase roll, setting his own bit of history in the process. Joey Logano, who couldn't win on Saturday, came into the race without a win on Sunday in this season at all. He was quite frustrated as well, but he took care of all that, pulled away from the pack at the end, beat out Chase Elliott, 20, and Kyle Larson, who was 23. Why would I mention that? Because Joey Logano is the grand old age of 26, and that means that the average age of the top three finishers was a grand total of 23 years old.
True.
That's the youngest top three in the history of the Sprint Cup Series, or Cup Series as a whole, which beat the previous low, which was set way back the first time in 1951, 24.7 years old. By the way, 24.7 years old has actually been tied 4 more times since then, I found out. How in the world you can tie 5 times at 24.7 and not get any lower just kind of almost baffles me. But now it's much lower, 23.
23.
People wanted to know where the youth movement was.
It's
here.
We talked about it a few years on the show. I love saying that. We talked about it a few years ago on the show, how everybody's waiting for this infusion. We've got the infusion, and this is what we're seeing now. I mean, you look at the likes of Chase Elliott. We talk about him every week. I mean, he's showing himself. There is so much something special about this kid, and we all know it. But the way that he's been running this year in his rookie season, it astounds me so far. And then to have Kyle Larson bouncing back and rebounding the way that he is, we were talking about him last year, kind of having that, where did he go?
Yeah.
And now he's back. He's running strong. He was at Dover running strong. He's here at Michigan running strong. This is what we've been waiting to see, and it's great to have this finally.
Yeah, it's amazing. Rest of your top 10 filled out with relative old guys. Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, Tony Stewart with a nice run, Austin Dillon, Jamie McMurray, and Kurt Busch filling out the top 10. Logano now claims a win. That means there are now 10 drivers all but assured of being in the season-ending chase. The non-winning drivers who are in on points right now, the aforementioned Chase Elliott. He leads the non-winners. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Austin Dillon continuing to be there. Kind of strange. I would have expected him to kind of dive off by now, but it looks like, at least for now, he may have a handle on that 3-car finally.
I figure if I give him any props whatsoever, he will drop like a rock.
So you're not gonna?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm torn on the fact of I just don't think he's got the talent that everybody seems to think.
Well,
he
and
does.
we're about to get into some stuff here, not necessarily this weekend, but here in the next couple of weeks, where we're really going to test his mettle, because we got 2 road course races, plus we got Bristol still to come. We got the Brickyard. There's still some hefty things that are coming for him.
He's got a lot of hurdles left.
Jamie McMurray, Ryan Newman, and Ryan Blaney finish out your top 16. We mentioned Tony Stewart, his 7th place finish, moved him up 2 places in the point standings. He's now 34th. He's 45 points behind 30th place, which is now, by the way, Brian Scott. So if he can just be steady, he can get himself into the top 30. But what he still needs to do, by NASCAR rules, he needs to claim that win. And that's where I go back to those road course races. Sonoma, more likely Watkins Glen for my own opinion, because I think he's stronger there than he is at Sonoma. But I think those are the 2 tracks where he's most likely to claim a win. Past that, I would say probably Indianapolis, because it's his own backyard, and that's where he loves to be.
You know, I was really shocked. We were talking about it last week, you know, when we saw the lineup, we saw the qualifying and everything, that how it came down, and great qualifying run by the 14, and then turn around and have such a great race. He was up there all day long. He was never in the back, never had a problem. The guys on the box and in the pits, they kept the car up with what Tony needed. Great back and forth going there, a lot of good communication, keeping him up where he needs to be. This is what they have to do each and every week. They can't have these bad weeks where, you know, he drops back. He's got to gain every bit of ground that he can. And if he can put together a string of races, and I think this one, especially being Michigan, being one of those ones that really wasn't on the radar, especially for us looking at, this is one of those races we're really going to see good out of him, like we're talking about Sonoma, Watkins Glen, Indianapolis. This race, I think, was a good shot in that arm for that 14 crew.
Yeah.
I think this one, if they can take this forward, I know we've got an off weekend for them this week.
Sure.
But I think that they can kind of enjoy it and take that momentum into next week.
Well, and I think part of it is the fact that they can now study what it is that they did and what they didn't do this weekend, what they did last weekend at Michigan, and they can apply that when they go next weekend.
And I think it gives a shot in the arm for Tony. But overall, I think the biggest boost this week was the fact that Tony was so calm and relaxed when he was talking. He was joking.
Sure.
He even threw out a joke. He's like, I'm coming in.
That's the old Tony.
Yeah, that's what we were expecting to see this year, and we hadn't gotten a chance to see it because of the frustration. There's been a lot of problems, but he was so calm, cool, and collected this race that he even messed with his pit crew and had them jumping up on the wall because they thought he was coming in.
Yeah.
And for them, that gave them that shot that, hey, we can actually come together as a team. We can do this. If we collectively put it all together.
Yeah.
So it was a great week for them all around. I'd love to see some more, but I hope they can just carry this 2 weeks from now.
We're going to find out. Shortly after the Cup drivers actually got their race going in Michigan, just across the border in Montreal, Canada, Formula One got the Canadian Grand Prix rolling. Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, the Mercedes twins, were on the front row. Sebastian Vettel, though, shot out of a cannon and led right after the first corner. However, during a full course caution on lap 10, his Ferrari team called him down pit road, and that put him on a different pit strategy than their initial plans going into the race. That was the opening that was needed by Hamilton. He used that opening to go to a one pit stop strategy, and that claimed his second win in a row.
You called that one.
Vettel, on newer tires, after his second pit stop, used that new rubber closed up on second place, but he couldn't approach Hamilton, ended up finishing second. Valtteri Bottas claiming his and his team Williams' very first podium finish of 2016. Congratulations to them.
Love that.
Max Verstappen continues to show that the call up to Red Bull Racing was the right move. He claimed fourth, holding off Nico Rosberg, who dropped from second to 10th at the start of the race. He had gotten around Verstappen with 2 to go, but he went into a corner too hot, spun his racer around. It's unbelievable how good a driver that, especially the Mercedes drivers, are. You never expect them to do something like this. This was just a mistake that I would have expected you or me to make, or a rookie. I would have expected a Max Verstappen to make that, not a Nico Rosberg.
And I was kind of curious about that, and I don't know what your thought process on this would be. Is he just so bent on trying to dominate that he's actually hurting himself in the long run here?
It's possible.
I mean, that was just the stupidest move. I mean, you're right. You would see a rookie or somebody that just doesn't have a lot of experience going in and doing something like a move like that. It was very uncharacteristic of a guy like Nico Rosberg that has so many wins this year, doing so well, and then does something like that.
Spun his car around. It was stopped right there in the middle of this little kind of weird little hitch of a curve, but he was able to recover and finish in fifth. Kimi Räikkönen was sixth. Daniel Ricciardo, Nico Hülkenberg, Carlos Sainz, and Sergio Perez fill out the rest of the top 10. Points have closed up significantly with those results. Rosberg is still leading, but Hamilton is now within 9 points. Vettel's only 38 back. Ricciardo is 44 down. Kimi Räikkönen is 47 points behind. Let's see who we got. And then you got the rest of the top 10. Max Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, Felipe Massa, Sergio Perez, with a tie between Daniel Kvyat and Romain Grosjean, making up the rest of the top 10. Kvyat and Grosjean trail Rosberg by a grand total of 94 points at this time. Constructors' Cup standings, Mercedes shows the way again, now holding a 47-point lead over Ferrari, 93 points over Red Bull. There are only 2 teams within 100 points of Ferrari, by the way. Williams is fourth. Sahara Force India fifth. Nice run for them so far this year. Toro Rosso, McLaren, Haas F1, and Renault are your top 9. Those are all teams who have scored points. And there are 11 teams total, which means Sauber and Manor have yet to claim a championship point this season. And I'll be real honest with you. At this point in time, looking like neither of them are challenging for that either.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Sorry about that, guys.
Sorry.
Shortly after Formula One got their race underway, the Verizon IndyCar Series attempted to get their already rain delayed from Saturday night race in. Firestone 600 was supposed to run Saturday night. Nope. Rains in Texas said Sunday.
Yes.
Rains in Texas said Monday. After they got in 71 laps. The rains came, washed out the weekend. In all, 248 laps are scheduled for the Firestone 600, so they didn't make it halfway. They were 54 laps short of that. With a 50-50 chance of rain on Monday, series and track officials looked ahead on their calendar, and then they looked at some of the drivers who were involved and knew that a lot of them, at least 5 or 6 of them, had to make their way over to France because they're running in this weekend's 24 Hours of Le Mans, and they said, you know what, we're not even going to try Monday. We're going to postpone this all the way to August 27th.
It's so weird.
And they're going to pick up the race on lap number 71, right where it ended.
Okay, for those out there that, and I myself am asking the same question, how do you push a race that far out and just pick it up from where you left off? I mean, what do they impound the racers? What do they do?
I don't know.
There's not a lot of, and that was a question I got this week. Well, what do they do about the cars?
Yeah. Well, and there's another wrinkle. Stay close. IndyCar officials have at this time determined that James Hinchcliffe is your leader when the race resumes. For now, because Ryan Hunter-Reay is still appealing to series officials that he should be the race leader because replays following a Ryan Hunter-Reay pit stop under yellow appears to show that he made it out of the pits ahead of the on-track Hinchcliffe. But Hunter-Reay was still slotted second behind Hinch by series officials who shortly thereafter pulled out the red flag because of the thunderstorm. IndyCar president of competition Jay Fry told media following the postponement that, quote, Ryan was passing to make sure he was on the lead lap, not a lap down. Then why is he listed in second place?
Yeah, I'm confused.
Anyway, confirms Hinchcliffe will be the leader when the race resumes in late August. The caution itself was caused when Joseph Newgarden slammed into Connor Daly hard enough for Newgarden to actually have to be airlifted to Parkland Memorial Hospital for treatment of a broken right collarbone and a small fracture of his right hand. Daly, according to officials, was unhurt. Here's the odd thing about this.
That wreck.
You ready?
Yeah.
Joseph Newgarden will be allowed to start in the race when it resumes.
That's my question. How? The car was destroyed.
So was Connor Daly's.
Yes.
Guess what? He gets to start again, too.
What is this? I mean, now we get to bring a new car in?
There's a part of me that wonders if they felt like it was their own fault because they may not have thrown the yellow flag in time because of wetness on the track. That's an assumption on my part that IndyCar is not confirming.
I'm going to flat out just toss this.
Sure.
Okay. You've seen the replay.
Yeah.
I think we've all seen the replay.
Sure.
It's
ugly.
It was freaky.
Yes.
But I don't think it had anything to do with wetness on the track. If you go back and you slow motion that video and you look at that right front, it looks like something just breaks inside that and just shoots him. If it was wetness, I think we would have seen something a little different.
Probably.
We wouldn't have seen it just 90-degree turn.
Probably would have seen a lot more wiggle in the car.
There would have been. Not a 90-degree turn straight into another car, straight into the wall.
Yeah. Well, either way, it looks like right now
I'd be a little bit upset,
let them go.
I'd be a little upset because they get to bring a new car to the track.
That's true.
Why do I have to use the same piece of crap that I've got that's not working for me?
I don't know.
Just saying.
A lot of things that need to be figured out between now and August 27th.
Yes.
NHRA finals at Englishtown not hampered by weather. They got in the Summer Nationals on Sunday as scheduled. Steve Torrence able to claim the win in Top Fuel over Tony Schumacher, ran a 4.037 ETA at 281.71 miles an hour. Ron Capps, your winner in Funny Car, besting Jack Beckman, ran a 3.954 ETA at 316.90 miles per hour. Beckman had lost traction off the line. In the Pro Stock ranks, Greg Anderson gets the win when the points leader Jason Line mistakenly red-lighted at the start and disqualified his time. So Anderson kind of eased on to a 6.610 ETA at 210.93 miles per hour. Over to Pro Modified, Troy Coughlin got the win. He ran a 5.878 ETA at 255.29 miles per hour. That means he beat Bill Glidden in the final. And in Pro Stock Motorcycle, the winner, Angel Sampé, who beat Jerry Savoy, ran a 6.86 or 6.876 ETA at 194.41 miles per hour. In your points, Doug Kalita continues to lead the way in Top Fuel. He's up 49 points on Antron Brown, 65 on Steve Torrence. Brittany Force is now 154 back. Tony Schumacher moves up into fifth, but he's 270 points from the lead. Ron Capps now up 27 points on Jack Beckman for the lead in Funny Car. Courtney Force drops to third, 71 points down. Tim Wilkerson, 98 back, and Del Worsham, 119 behind the leader. Jason Line's lead over Greg Anderson in Pro Stock down to 68. And then everybody else is so far back they can't see him with binoculars. Bo Butner, 414 behind. Alan Johnson, 519 points behind. And Drew Skillman trails by 583. think Skillman needs a telescope.
Do we even need to put how many he's back? Can we just say he's way back there?
I'm just mentioning this because that's how dominant Jason Line has been this year. Good night. Ricky Smith, your leader in Pro Modified, up 133 on Troy Coughlin. Wow, we thought Pro Stock was bad. 159 on Steve Matuzik. Michael Beal, the second, is now 195 back, with Danny Rowe in fifth, 196 from first. Well, at least all five are within 200 points. Finally, in Pro Stock Motorcycle, Eddie Krawick holds a 126-point lead over Gerald Savoy. You've got Angel Sampé now up to third, 139 back. Andrew Hines, 146 points from the lead, and Chip Ellis is fifth, 167 points out.
I think one of the coolest things this weekend was from Courtney Force and John Force. They were paired up in that first round.
Yes.
Facing each other. So Courtney gets to social media and puts a video up, and she's sitting there talking. She's like, guess who we got to take on in the first round? That's right. We got to take on Dad. Well, he's standing back in the back, and he comes walking up front as she's doing her little session. And he comes walking up, and they just kind of bantering back and forth. If you get a chance to check it out, it was shared over on Speed. They're still around.
Yeah,
but,
speed.com.
Yeah, speed.com, their Facebook page, they shared it. It was funny because they were just having a good time with it. It was really poor run off the line for her in that first round.
It was not a good weekend for her.
I was expecting this. I tuned in just for that matchup there to see what was going to happen, and she had a problem off the line.
This weekend, pretty good amount of racing to get to. Starts with the Camping World Truck Series, running the Speediatrics 200 at Iowa Speedway. Coverage on Fox Sports 1 and Motor Racing Network starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time tonight. Sunday, Formula One gets back into action with the Grand Prix of Europe on the Baku City Circuit. It's a troubled course. We'll talk about that later. As of press time, officials had not finalized the entire course, so its length and number of turns actually undetermined right now, somewhere north of 14. Coverage slated for the NBC Sports Network starts at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central Time. Xfinity Series getting a rare Sunday race, also at Iowa. They're going to run the American Ethanol E15 250. Good grief. Airs on the MRN Radio Network, and Fox Sports 1 begins at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central Time. NHRA's Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series coming back to the South this weekend for the Thunder Valley Nationals at Bristol Dragway. Finals on Sunday. Coverage on Fox Sports 1 begins 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central Time.
There's some moron on social media who saw the name of the American Ethanol E15 250, thought it was a race sponsored by E, and it was 15 250. It was that many miles.
Yeah, no. Also, we're going to talk about the coverage of the 24 Hours of Le Mans when we come back, because if I do it quick, it's going to be confusing. But do it slow, it's going to be confusing too.
You're listening to the fastest hour in radio on Superstation 101.
Let's face it, it's always been hard to kick the smoking habit until now. Don't wait to take the next step of pulling away from the pack. Experience the healthier alternative of smoking by vaping with Wild Vapors. Whether you're taking the turn or coming along in the straightaway, it's time to hit the deep brakes on cigarettes and turn into Wild Vapors. Wild Vapors is known for their signature formula for their own brands. They only use the purest vaping juice on the circuit without sucralose or diacetyl. Stop filling up your tank with the wrong fuel and swap to the healthier, cleaner solution through Wild Vapors. The crew at Wild Vapors is there to answer your questions and concerns about vaping. They're the reliable team you need as your pit crew when taking the turn towards the healthier alternative to cigarettes. They offer a full line of vaping supplies and guidance to help you quit cigarettes without falling off the track. Make sure you miss the big one by ditching the cigarettes and stop in at Wild Vapors. Find the healthier alternative to smoking. Make your next pit stop at Wild Vapors of Sylacauga today. 256-369-2569. Find them in the Sylacauga Walmart Shopping Center or their Alexander City location. Stay on track with Wild Vapors.
Hey, welcome back in. Fastest hour in radio rolling on a special 2-hour Father's Day edition of the show. We appreciate you checking us out. We've gone through all of last weekend, and we've gone through the schedule of this weekend, all except for one big event happening across the pond.
Now I want to hear about, because I want to hear how confused I'm going to be.
All right. Fox Sports has the coverage of the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Yes.
Which will get airtime not in its entirety, but in pieces.
Right.
Okay. Starting right about now. 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Central Time. So right now, as we are talking, coverage kicked off on Fox Sports 2.
Okay, Fox Sports 2. Got it.
And along with their online streaming service, Fox Sports Go. Now, that's only going to last for about 3 hours, and then they'll go away. They'll come back later tonight with 2 overnight stints. Fox Sports 1 gets an hour tonight from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time. Fox Sports 1.
Okay, 1.
6 to 7 p.m. Central.
Right.
2 overnight stints. The first on Fox Sports 2.
2.
Then 4 hours of coverage early Sunday morning on Fox Sports 1, which will start at 2:30 a.m. Central Time.
Well, that makes total sense.
Not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
The final 2 hours of coverage is also going to be split. From 6:30 to 8 a.m. Central Time, you'll get Fox Sports 2. Then the last 30 minutes of the 24 hours to 8:30 a.m. goes to Fox Sports 1.
I think the most important question I have right now is, Steve, I'm not asking who's on second. I'm talking who's on first.
I don't know.
It just goes to prove to me that there are idiots running Fox. That's all.
You remember I talk about the fact that Brian France always has that dartboard that he just, puts a blindfold on and tosses at the dartboard?
Uh-huh.
Yep. Thank you, Fox Sports. You
Yes.
just took a page from Brian France's book.
If you're rolling on Fox 2, why not just do the whole thing on Fox 2 and be done with it?
I
And
don't know.
you might take the end of it and put it on Fox 1.
I don't know why that they decided to split the last 2 hours
Yeah.
for 90 minutes on Fox Sports 2 and then 30 minutes on Fox Sports 1.
That's what I'm saying.
That makes no sense.
Run almost the entirety on Fox 2, and then you could go to Fox 1 for the finale,
So for all of you who have just thoroughly confused at 7:30 in the morning Central Time, don't worry, we are too.
I think during the after show we gotta break that down.
I'm not touching this in the after the show.
yeah.
No,
I think,
you can
John,
do
what do
it
you think?
all you want.
You think Steve should break it down one more time so everybody's scratching their heads?
You can do it all you want. I'm not touching it.
Oh, come on, Steve. You can do it.
Blech. Off the track news. Here we go. 2012 Sprint Cup Series champion Brad Keselowski used his time off and decided to spend time with one of his other Team Penske groups, the Indycar side specifically. Keselowski had the chance to get behind the wheel of Simon Pagenaud's car during a test session at Road America on Wednesday. Keselowski, in a press release, said of the run, quote, "First thing I told Simon is he has a very secure job, at least from me. I've got a lot of respect for him and his team and everyone at Team Penske." But here comes the question. Would he consider doing an IndyCar run? Well, Keselowski added later on his personal Twitter account, quote, "One of the best days of my life. Thank you, everyone." Does he think about running an IndyCar race? Likely, he says, not this year, because the only weekend where the schedule would work out would be when IndyCar goes to Pocono later this year. That would be mid-August, just before they return to Texas for the stillborn race there. But he said that wouldn't give him a whole lot of practice time. So then he was asked about the double in 2017, but he didn't talk about it. Once he got used to the different braking power of the open-wheel car, according to Team Penske officials, who did not release lap times, they did say that his second lap was 10 seconds faster than the first.
That's a big jump. That's not
That is
like
a big jump.
a little bit. That's a lot.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's Kurt Busch is still talking about it. Now Brad Keselowski might be thinking about it. We're seeing more and more, though, where these drivers are kind of looking at some of these other series and going, hey, I'd like to try out that car. Kurt Busch still wants to try out a Formula One car. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, I guess the thing is I love how the vultures, descend upon the drivers.
Well, we're all fascinated about running the double. Here's the thing. Here's the thing that gets me every single time. And I understand the Coca-Cola 600 is a crown jewel, but so is the Indy 500. Why aren't we talking a little more about an IndyCar driver accompanying a NASCAR driver from Indy to Charlotte and have an IndyCar driver at least try it?
Yeah. It's always the one way. It's not a two-way.
Yeah, I want to see IndyCar drivers come over. I mean, we've got Team Penske. Let's go. You got Ganassi, who has teams on both sides.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's not like we've already kind of established a bit of a connection between Andretti Autosport and Stewart Haas Racing, because that's who Kurt Busch ran for in IndyCar. It was Andretti. Why don't we try and see if we can't play a little trade-off here?
It would be nice. I think the only thing that concerns me so much about all these talks about and this is kind of thing I was thinking by myself at one time, is I think it really takes away from the double if everybody starts to do it. If everybody's talking about doing it, I think it takes away from that Wow, that's really cool. And turns it into, oh, yeah, so-and-so did it last year.
Kind of strangely enough, Michael Hart and I got to talking about this a little bit yesterday afternoon as we were starting to wind down the Friday edition show, and we were starting to get a little loopy. And we got to talking about it. The only guy, the benchmark is still, and I understand I'm wearing a Tony Stewart shirt, but the benchmark is still Tony Stewart. The John Andretti's of the world, the Tony Stewarts, the Robbie Gordons of the world, and Kurt Busch, and all the other guys who have run the double. The most successful run was done by Tony Stewart, who at least finished on the lead lap of the the 02, I believe it was, Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600. So he's the only driver right now who has finished all 1,100 laps in one day.
Yeah, now, it was set up. Kurt Busch had it. He had the record beat, but had that problem at Charlotte.
Right, yeah. Or, well, no, he could have tied it.
He could have tied it, but then he had the problem at Charlotte.
Yeah. And there was the chance that he had a good enough car because he was really screaming through the field, and it looked like he might have been able to take the lead. So there was a chance that he might have been able to edge Tony in one way. He might have been able to claim a win.
Yeah.
But so far, again, Tony's the only one to complete all 1,100 laps. That's, I think, the goal that you go for if you're going to start to see this on a more regular basis. And again, I don't have any problem with seeing this on a regular basis, but I'd like to see a little bit more than just NASCAR going to Indy. I'd like to see some Indy coming to NASCAR.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see it going back and forth. I'm just, like I said, I'm just a little concerned with the novelty, sort of, so to speak, kind of wearing off, where it just becomes, oh, yeah, such and such is going to run the double. And in other news...
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to let it be that way because I'm here to tell you, if you're going to try and attempt to race 1,100 miles...
It's a big deal.
That's a humongous deal.
It is. It's a very big deal. It's I don't know. It just doesn't sit well with me. They have so many different people. But I agree. If they did it where somebody came from the IndyCar side of things over to the NASCAR side, that could really change my mind.
And I will say this. I need somebody other than Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yes. and I'm sure every Air Titan system at Charlotte does not want to see Juan Pablo Montoya.
No. Some guy who probably will never try it is Clint Boyer because now he's going to have his hands full, literally. Clint Boyer and his wife Laura have announced they are expecting their second child. The couple married 2 years ago. They've already got a son who they named Cash Aaron. There's a name for you.
Yeah.
This time, they stated on Twitter they're going to be adding a baby girl to the family. Boyer made the announcement via his Twitter account. Did not announce when the baby might be expected to arrive, though, so we don't know whether it's during the season or during their very tiny sliver of an off-season.
Probably during. Well,
I would say it seems likely.
Well, we're gonna. It's just a given right there. We're gonna have the normal talk though. Who's gonna be on the box for Clint if he's got to run to the hospital, that kind of thing.
Exactly. 4-time Cup Series champion Jeff Gordon. This is something that came in after I had sent you the rundown, so you don't even know that this is coming.
Aha!
Of course, he's working Fox Sports as a booth commentator for the Sprint Cup Series this year, but apparently he's also being eyed for a role on a syndicated television morning show. According to a report on TVLine.com, Gordon, who has co-hosted Live with Regis and Kelly 9 times in his past, is being considered and is considered one of the front runners for the co-hosting slot that is open beside Kelly Ripa, who has been without a regular co-host since Michael Strahan left and accepted the full-time role with ABC's Good Morning America.
Yeah, I heard a twitch about that this week, but I've gotten to the point where I think that I think nobody wants to work with Kelly Ripa.
Yeah.
It's more of the I'm shiny and you're not type thing. I mean, Michael Strahan couldn't even deal with her.
I wonder how much money they pay.
Heck, I'd take it. I don't care. I just go home and I hate my life. I hate my job. I make good money.
Rail about Kelly Ripa in your off time and away from her.
Or just make her look really, really bad each and every day.
Yeah, and then suck it up for an hour every day.
Exactly.
There you go.
I can do it.
Before Saturday's Xfinity Series race last weekend, a slight change was made to the number 20 Toyota Camry of Eric Jones. It was nothing that was going to bring the attention of series officials, though. It was a name change. Off came Eric Jones, and in its place was put the name simply Dave, the name of Jones's father. He had passed away the prior Tuesday. Jones, with permission from NASCAR and Joe Gibbs Racing, replaced his name with his father's just before the race got underway, and he finished 4th in the event. Dave Jones was 53 years old. The thoughts and prayers of all of us here at the Fastest Hour in Radio go out to the Jones family and friends at this time.
Yes.
Following the Sprint Cup Series race on Sunday, the 42 car third place finisher Kyle Larson went through post-race inspection. Reports on Monday state that it failed the laser inspection station, but did not go into any more specifics. Wednesday, the hammer dropped. Larson docked 15 championship points, while interim crew chief Phil Surgeon was hit with a $25,000 fine for the post-race laser inspection failure. The 15-point hit knocks Larson down to 19th place in series points. He's now 23 points out of the top 16. Chip Ganassi Racing, by the way, has announced they will not appeal the ruling.
How bad do you feel as the interim crew chief to step into the car and then you get hit with a $25,000 fine for laser issues?
Oops.
I mean, really?
And the reason why he was the interim crew chief was because the regular crew chief, Chad Johnston, the week before, was sitting out this race because of the lug nut rule where they didn't have all 5 of them tightened.
I heard something this week. They call it the lug nut vacay. Lug nut vacay. It's hashtag lug nut vacay.
4 crew chiefs so far have been hit by that.
Yes, and
more to come.
The latest as they go by, and I think they have a list actually that they are developing of who's going to have the lug nut issue so they can get a weekend off.
Mm-hmm, probably so.
Yes.
Who's next? When the Sprint Cup Series makes its way out west for the first time at the 2 road courses, happening, of course, next weekend, it's been announced that the Sprint Cup Rookie of the Year contender Chase Elliott is actually going to get a chance to moonlight. Not only will he drive his Hendrick Motorsports number 24 Sprint Cup Series Chevrolet SS, he's going to get some seat time in the accompanying NASCAR K&N Pro Series West race. You want to talk about some serious moonlighting. Yeah. It's going to give him some extra track time on a course that he has never run on before. So in this case, and again, when it comes to rookies, I don't really have a big problem with it. This is a humongous step down, though. It's not like he's running Xfinity Series. He's running K&N Pro Series West.
Yeah, there's a whole big difference. It's like night and day difference there.
Here's the thing. He's not the only son of a cup racer in the event either. David Gilliland's 16-year-old son will be driving that afternoon, and his son is actually listed as a favorite to win that race.
I can see it.
16.
Yeah, 16.
What was I doing at 16? Trying to avoid Hoover Cops. Is what I was
playing Nintendo and worrying about my acne.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid Hoover Cops going down Highway 31, but that's another
at
story.
At 16, Steve?
Absolutely. I was stupid, okay? I have said this before, I'll say it again. The fact that I'm alive and well at 47 years old is a testament not to me or anything that I have ever done. It is a testament to God and God alone.
Yeah, I was being pulled over by Virginia State Police when I was 16.
I was worried about... No, I'm not even going there.
Not going there. Okay. Let's see. Speaking of other drivers, coming up at Sonoma, expect a third-generation driver in the event. Premium Motorsports has announced they've tabbed Cody Ware to drive the number 55 Chevrolet SS. Sponsorship coming from Carport Empire. He's going to be teaming with Cole Witt in the number 98 other Premium Motorsports car. Cody's the son of Rick Ware, current owner in the Xfinity Series. Should he qualify for the Sonoma race, he'll have starts now in at least all 3 of NASCAR's top 3 series. But, he's still got to qualify.
Yes.
BK Racing going to break out the number 93, hoping that road course ringer Dylan Lupton can get the car into the field at Sonoma next weekend. He'll be driving the car with sponsorship from Elk Grove Toyota and Bell Brothers Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Guess they're local guys.
It's got to be.
His crew chief for the race going to be the veteran Mike Ford. Lupton ran a partial Xfinity Series schedule last year with Athenian Motorsports after winning the 2014 K&N Pro Series West Championship in 2014. Lupton added there could be more drives for him in the number 93 before the season is out, but cautioned this, quote, nothing is set in stone. We're going to take it race by race. So in other words, if you wreck the whole thing at Sonoma, probably not going to give you another start.
Yes.
Now, if you win, we might give you one.
We'll give you another chance.
Down to the Xfinity Series. Obaika Racing, Obaika, by the way, if you wanted to know how that's spelled. Obaika Racing has announced they're going to field cars for Sisters this weekend at Iowa Speedway in tomorrow's Xfinity Series race. The organization's set to enter both Paige and Claire Decker. 23-year-old Paige going to be driving the number 97. Claire, who's 21, will drive the number 77 for the team. Paige and Claire made their top-level NASCAR debuts earlier this season, driving in the Camping World Truck Series race at Martinsville. Paige finished 25th, Claire 27th. So it'll be interesting to see how those 2 girls do tomorrow.
Yes, it will.
Ben Kennedy also going to get a chance in the Xfinity Series this weekend at Iowa. The great-grandson of NASCAR's founder, Big Bill France, going to be behind the wheel of the number 2 Richard Childress Chevrolet Camaro tomorrow. 2-car does have a win this season, with Austin Dillon piloting in a moonlighting role. Between he and the other moonlighter, Paul Menard, the 2-car has notched 8 top 5 results this year, 12 top 10 finishes, all in 14 starts. So he's got a good car under him. He's got 57 Camping World Truck Series starts to his credit. This is the first time, however, that Ben Kennedy, the 24-year-old, will get his road time in the Xfinity Series.
I think he'll do pretty decent. I mean, he's a good kid.
He's looking for a solid finish is what he's looking for, because this is proof time.
Yeah, it's not like he's going to go out there and take a win, but if he can go up there and kind of keep this or improve
if he can match team. What Dillon and Menard have been doing and grab a top 10, I think that would be highly impressive, and that would make the case that he has been saying that he's ready to move up to the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, and if he does have a run like that, we'll be seeing him a little bit more, probably a couple more races this year.
I would think. Travis Kvapil back in the Xfinity Series this weekend as well. The aforementioned Rick Ware Racing has announced that Kvapil, listen carefully, will be piloting the number 25 CorvetteParts.net/Keen Parts Ford Mustang.
I don't understand that.
At Iowa for tomorrow's race.
How does that happen?
I have no idea.
What moron signed that contract?
I have no idea. The fact that Ford is allowing that is kind of funny to me.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if somebody made an error and didn't read something, and next thing you know, you've got Corvette Parts
on a Ford.
.net on a Ford.
On a Ford.
And they're locked in.
Yep. Kvapil, by the way, opting to qualify for both the Xfinity and Camping World Truck Series races this weekend with the Iowa Xfinity event potentially marking his 4th series start this season in Xfinity. Joe Gibbs Racing going to have to go to a backup plan for this weekend. The organization had planned on running Matt Tifft in the Camping World Truck Series race with Red Horse Racing, and then on Sunday in the Xfinity race where he would drive the number 18 Toyota Camry for JGR. But Tifft is suffering from a disc problem in his back, so he is on the sidelines. Well, Sam Hornish Jr. has been pulled off of the bench. He'll run on Sunday. Red Horse Racing, meanwhile, grabbed Erman Quiroga to drive the number 11 Tundra in the Camping World Truck Series race, so this will be the second race in a row that Red Horse Racing has tabbed Erman Quiroga to drive a car or a truck. He ran last weekend, but he was in the number 77, so change of truck, too.
I'm excited to see Sam Hornish Jr. Coming in for Sunday.
He's shown that he is good at the Xfinity Series level.
Yes, he's extremely good at the Xfinity side.
And the fact that he doesn't have a regular ride, just I think there's a part of me that says it's a testament to the talent of the younger drivers that are coming up.
It is. This is one of those things where we talked about. We saw the likes of Elliott Sadler drop from the Sprint Cup Series down to Xfinity, doing extremely well there. Right. We saw Sam Hornish Jr. drop down to the Xfinity Series, goes out, is on a tear, has a great time, but then flirts with that danger zone and goes back up,
right,
and then loses the ride because he couldn't stay up there.
Sam Hornish Jr. is a guy who's tried to come over from the IndyCar Series where he has a championship, he's got Indy 500 win and all that, and congratulations to him, and he's tried to come over and make a run for himself in NASCAR. Sprint Cup Series is just not it. He's had 2 stints at the Sprint Cup Series level, but he's been in the Xfinity Series in between those 2 stints in Sprint Cup, and he has proven himself to be a very capable racer. If you can handle staying at the secondary series level, I think that's where you go. Otherwise, you got to think about maybe going back to IndyCar. You state that you don't have anything else to prove there, but here's the thing. You got wins over there.
Yes.
So you either go back there or you realize that you're going to have to settle, quote-unquote, for the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, he's got wins in the Xfinity Series. He's got wins over in IndyCar. It's just you find that one line where you're not better than, but you're right where you need to be. Yep. You're at the top of your game in a certain spot. Xfinity was where he was. I felt bad because I think we talked about it, too, that this was not going to go well when he moved back up.
Yeah, when he went to Richard Petty Motorsports, you and I looked at each other and went,
this is not going to fly well.
No.
And then he gave up the ride in the Xfinity side, so he lost that.
Right.
So it was a gamble, and gambles don't always pay off.
Yeah, in this case, came up snake eyes.
Yeah, everybody can't be Kyle Busch.
Right.
Moving on.
That's another story entirely. Cale Conley ran 30 races last year in the Xfinity Series, but he's been absent this year. Conley says he's got nothing lined up for even a part-time or a one-race deal, but he says he's continuing to look to see what might be available. Conley was driving for TriStar Motorsports, but with 3 races left in the 2015 season, he was released from the contract. The team cited lack of funding. Conley says he's hoping to get a deal for at least 10 races through the end of the season. Well, here's the thing. We're halfway through the year. You're going to have to find that deal real fast. And if you're not actively looking, I got news for you. Finding a 10-race deal, it's not going to be easy. They don't just fall out of trees and hit you on the head.
Yeah, it does not happen.
So
not going to happen.
Good luck, Cale. A report came out early Monday morning from the Sandusky Register that a fire had broken out in the shop of Camping World Truck Series team Thor Sport Racing. Yep, they're in Sandusky, Ohio. The team, based there, the northwest corner of the state, has reports that the fire broke out in the early morning hours Monday. Firefighters worked through the night to put the fire out. The team fields trucks for two-time series champ Matt Crafton, along with Cameron Haley, Ben Rhodes, and Rico Abreu. The team issued a statement about 8 o'clock Monday morning. Quote, shortly after midnight on Monday, a fire broke out in the basement of Thor Sports Racing shop, located in Sandusky, Ohio. At this time, we can confirm that no one was injured. We are currently working with the fire department and local officials to contain the blaze and assess the damage. We do not expect this to impact the team's competition schedule. Our next race is at Iowa Speedway in Newton on Saturday, June 18th, today, or in other words. Further details will be forthcoming, unquote. In the aftermath of the blaze, Thor Sport lost, according to reports, about 40% of the shop because it was just utterly destroyed. Yeah. The rest of the facility suffers from both smoke and water damage. Some of that is termed severe. According to one report, a couple of crewmen were working late Sunday night. They smelled the fire, located the source of it, called 911. In all, it took 14 fire trucks and 4 ladder trucks 16 hours to put this fire out. Some firemen assisted also in pushing some race trucks out as they could, which allowed the team to salvage 15 of the 18 trucks that were built and housed in the facility. However, the fabrication and the suspension shop utterly destroyed. The paint and the machine shops were severely damaged. They're termed unusable. A team spokesman said Wednesday, updating things, that the team hopes to be able to return to the facility in 4 to 6 weeks, but the entire shop will likely take about a year and a half to rebuild, so they're looking into temporary homes for the shop. In addition to that, some other teams have promised to bring some extra parts and pieces for the team to use this weekend if they need it. The investigation into how that fire started and the estimation of the damage is ongoing. I imagine it'll be in the multiple millions, obviously, because of what we just detailed. The fact that they were able to save 15 of the 18 trucks is actually kind of impressive.
That's a miracle in its own.
Because you got to understand that you've got all these firefighters who are there to fight a blaze. They're not really there to go and push trucks out of a building.
Yeah.
So the fact that they found a couple of guys who were able to do that and still get this blaze out, congratulations to those guys, first of all, for being able to do that. Secondly, congratulations to all the other teams who have promised they're going to bring extra parts and pieces for the team as needed as we go on to keep them on the track. Despite the fact that when we get out there and you got the Red Horse Racings and the KBMs and the BKRs and all the other ones that are out there running in the Camping World Truck Series, racing is still a tight-knit community.
It is, and they come together for things like this. I was a little surprised myself when I heard about the firemen pushing trucks out of the thing, but that would just make for such a great promo. You got truck coming out of the smoke, and you got firefighters pushing it, and that's a promo right there.
Yeah,
but I mean, they're going to rebuild, and
they will.
They're going to continue moving forward. They're going to continue racing. They've got the backup. They've got the support. Racing community is awesome. They'll go out there, and a lot of people will be pulling for them.
Yeah,
as usual, but a little bit more. Just kind of, it's that heartfelt thing. When something kind of happens, you want to pull for that one. Just so much more because of what's going on.
Exactly. Faith Motorsports announcing they've agreed to a partnership. They're working with Mike Harmon Racing. They're going to enter the number 74 Chevrolet Silverado in tonight's Iowa Speedway event. Sean McGee Design, it's a web-based motorsports design company. I'm not really sure what that means, but okay. They're going to be the primary sponsor for Donnie LaVister, who's going to be driving the truck, so it's not Mike Harmon. Mike Harmon from right here in Alabama, the Birmingport area. He's been up in the Camping World Truck Series for a few years now, but he hasn't really had a whole lot of luck. I think something like this, where he can get a little bit of an influx of some well-needed funding and kind of a partnership role, I think it can only help Mike Harmon.
Yeah, we've been out to Talladega where we've seen him running and doesn't have no sponsors, just kind of going out there doing his thing, and it never really works out well for him. You got to have that backing.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to.
I think, even if it's just a one or a couple of race deal, I think this can only help.
Yes.
Quite frankly.
Every little bit helps them.
One more bit of news in the Camping World Truck Series as Junior or JR Motorsports has announced they've got a crew chief change that's effective this weekend at Iowa. Marcus Richmond going to take over the 00 Chevrolet Silverado being driven by Cole Custer for the remainder of the 2016 season. He takes over for Joe Shear Jr. Shear Jr. quit earlier this month for reasons we have yet to figure out. Richmond is a veteran crew chief. He's got 205 starts as a crew chief under his belt, along with 9 wins in the Camping World Truck Series. He also helped lead Ty Dillon to a second-place points finish back in 2013. Richmond led Johnny Sauter's GMS Racing entry to a win at Daytona to kick off the season. Custer's currently 14th in series standing, so hopefully hoping to pick up on that. GMS Racing, meanwhile, has added, ironically, Joe Shear Jr. to be the crew chief for Johnny Sauter. That pairing is effective this weekend as well. So I get effectively they made a trade.
Yeah, it's a trade deadline. I think the trade. No, they got till the end of the month.
Yeah, we'll get until the end of the month.
Yeah, they got till the end of June. That's the trade deadline.
It's just weird how these things happen to come down like this. You know,
it is.
Joe Shear Jr. doesn't announce why he's quitting, so they go out, they find the best crew chief that they can get. It happens to be the guy at GMS Racing. So GMS Racing, decides to try and shove it in Junior Motorsports' eye by going, hey, we got your old crew chief, you got ours, we got yours. Okay.
It's kind of like meeting on the battlefield to exchange prisoners of war. You just kind of hand them over.
Yeah,
you both go your different ways.
Be done.
Yeah, you know.
You don't want to be
Here's yours. Here's ours.
Yeah.
See ya.
We didn't want you anyway.
See you at the track next week.
When we come back, we're going to make the switch over to open wheel racing, but we do need to talk about our good friends over at Wild Vapors because they have been such great sponsors of ours, and we've got a great giveaway that's going on as well in the fact that if you're looking to lay down cigarettes and if you're smoking, you need to be thinking about this. We've got a deal that could help you out, and it won't cost you a penny.
That's right. We want to hear your story. We want to hear your story on why you want to quit, how you've tried to quit. We want to hear everything, details, the whole 9 yards. Tell us your life story if all that matters. You can email that story to us at thefastesthour@AOL.com, or you can visit our Facebook, facebook.com/thefastesthour and send your story to us there. What we're going to do, July 4th, Independence Day.
Yes.
We're going to pick one of those stories, the most intriguing story out of the whole bunch. And what we're going to do is we're going to give you, our sponsor, Wild Vapors, is going to give you a starter kit for free. And Steve and I are going to give you a bottle of juice for free.
Absolutely.
So
you won't need for anything.
That's right. But if you do need stuff, after we pick that, if you do need stuff, you need the best you can get. You need the best juice, the best mods, the best knowledge. You want to give our friends at Wild Vapors a call, 256-369-2569. You can find them in Sylacauga in the Walmart Shopping Center, as well as Alexander City, one block up from Central Alabama Community College. We talk about them every week. We talk about the knowledge. We talk about everything. Give them a call today. Get off of cigarettes, 256-369-2569. Stay on track with Wild Vapors.
Best move you could make. Trust me, if you're a smoker, you want to lay them down. It's way too expensive.
Yep.
When we come back, as mentioned, we will make the transition to open wheel racing and start with Indycar. Stay close. Another hour of the fastest hour in radio coming up.
Let's face it, it's always been hard to kick the smoking habit until now. Don't wait to take the next step of pulling away from the pack. Experience the healthier alternative of smoking by vaping with Wild Vapors. Whether you're taking the turn or coming along in the straightaway, it's time to hit the deep brakes on cigarettes and turn into Wild Vapors. Wild Vapors is known for their signature formula for their own brands. They only use the purest vaping juice on the circuit without sucralose or diacetyl. Stop filling up your tank with the wrong fuel and swap to the healthier, cleaner solution through Wild Vapors. The crew at Wild Vapors is there to answer your questions and concerns about vaping. They're the reliable team you need as your pit crew when taking the turn towards the healthier alternative to cigarettes. They offer a full line of vaping supplies and guidance to help you quit cigarettes without falling off the track. Make sure you miss the big one by ditching the cigarettes and stop in at Wild Vapors. Find the healthier alternative to smoking. Make your next pit stop at Wild Vapors of Sylacauga today. 256-369-2569. Find them in the Sylacauga Walmart Shopping Center or their Alexander City location. Stay on track with Wild Vapors.
Learning to walk again. I believe I've waited long enough. Where do I begin?
Hey, welcome back in. You are listening to the fastest hour in radio, special Father's Day edition, which means we are 2 hours in length. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Yes.
And all the memories of all of our dads out there for people like myself. Lost my dad back in 2008. Lots to get to here still as we start to get into open wheel racing, and we go back to the IndyCar series where, with Joseph Newgarden sidelined by the injuries he suffered at Texas Motor Speedway, Ed Carpenter Racing needed a fill-in driver. They grabbed J.R. Hildebrand to be that driver. Hildebrand was the 2009 Indy Lights champion. He was the 2011 Indy 500 Rookie of the Year and has made 5 starts for ECR over the past 3 years, including a best of 6th place finish at this year's Indy 500. This is a guy who's been troubled. You got to realize he came in like he was on fire.
Yeah.
Mentioned the 2011 Rookie of the Year. In 2012, though, he got into a wreck. And that made the team that he was running for at that time, which I can't remember, very, very unhappy. And in 2013, when he did the almost exact same thing, wrecking early in the Indy 500, they fired him after the race.
Yes. That was bad.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
So this has been a long road back for J.R. Hildebrand
yeah,
here.
he needs to he's got a chance.
Yes. This is his
he got a
opportunity
chance,
to prove that he has grown up.
He got a chance. He messed it up. He got his second chance. He messed that up. This is your chance. This is it. 3 strikes and you're out, buddy.
Yep. Newgarden, as we noted earlier on in the show, suffered a broken collarbone and a small fracture of his right hand when he got into the car of Connor Daly on lap 42 of the Firestone 600, set to resume on that same lap when racing resumes at Texas Motor Speedway August 27th.
Still don't get it.
We mentioned last week Boston Grand Prix organizers are attempting to figure out how to pay back the tickets that were sold for the event that was supposed to take place Labor Day weekend and then got canceled. Well, now we got the Massachusetts Attorney General, Maura Healey, sticking her head into the whole business. Boston Globe newspaper reported Thursday Healey has subpoenaed documents related to the stillborn race from both race organizers and the Verizon IndyCar Series itself. Her efforts are in an attempt to determine who is still owed money from the refund promises made by the organizers when the race was officially announced and then tickets went on sale. Boston Grand Prix officials have refunded approximately $400,000 to ticket holders, but many ticket holders continue to await their refunds. And now BGP officials state that they're out of money to be able to make said refunds. Healey has given race officials and the IndyCar Series officials until June 27th to respond to said subpoenas.
I'm kind of curious on this. So you bring in money. Let's say you bring in, we'll just bring it down a little lower so we're not dealing with big numbers.
Right.
Let's say you bring in $100,000 in ticket sales.
Okay.
So you haven't done anything. There's no race yet.
Right.
You've paid out money to other people to bring them in.
Purportedly.
Okay, so now those people do not do the work for you.
Yes.
You then are refunded your money from those people that you have contracted, and then you have all the money back, right?
Reportedly.
Right. So then that should go back to the people who bought the tickets in the first place.
One would think.
But you're now out of money.
Right.
Where did you not get the money back? Where did you spend money that you didn't get back that you can't give back to the ticket holders?
I really have no idea.
Did I do that right?
I know where you're coming from.
Okay, I was about to say, because I'm thinking, if I give you $20 and you spend $5 to bring, Bozo the Clown in to do a little show, and then you got to cancel him, so you get the money back from him, and then I get my $20 back. That's kind of how it works.
That's supposed to be how it works.
But it didn't work out this way.
But you also spent money on promoting Bozo the Clown.
They weren't really promoting that much yet, though.
Not heavily, no.
There wasn't very much there.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some. They were still working on a lot of different things, but I mean, you still have investors in the first place.
There wasn't very much that we saw.
Yeah.
And the thing,
you can claim any amount that you want to.
You can.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and I don't know, this is my home state, but it's been a long time since I lived there. I was 5.
Yeah.
But there's a reason Massachusetts has the nickname of Taxachusetts, okay? And it does, for those of you that didn't know. They had to go through the city of Boston and the state of Massachusetts to get all kinds of permits and all this kind of stuff. What if the state of Massachusetts and the city of Boston decided that those permits were non-refundable?
That's a good point.
Which at that point in time, I'd be like, as a Boston Grand Prix official, I can tell you where some of that money went. It went to you, Miss Attorney General, because your state asked for set fees and we ain't got that money back because it's non-refundable.
This is going to be
This is a long-going thing.
This is going to be a very interesting story at the end.
Yeah, this is an ongoing thing.
Yeah, because I was sitting there thinking about that, and it just smacked me. I'm like, wait a second, if I paid money, if a bunch of people got together and paid a bunch of money and stuff was done, but nothing's going to happen, so you get the money back, you just give it back, and it's a done deal, it's over with.
Yeah.
We saw it not too long ago, right here in the state.
Sure.
Digga Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's already gotten their money back.
Yep. I don't know.
I don't understand.
Don't get it. Let's go over to the Formula One series, where this weekend they're visiting the Baku City circuit for the first time in race form. It's caused a bit of concern among the drivers. Jenson Button, most of all, concerned that the street course offers little to no runoff room. It leads him to conclude that in many areas of the course, should a car suffer a breakdown, it could actually cause some serious consequences. He especially called out turns 3, 7, and 14 as having no runoff area at all, and then mentioned that the pit road entry, he called it very narrow. Button said, quote, "It's like we've gone backwards in certain areas. I don't know why. Maybe the circuit was supposed to be the other way around. It's a shame because a lot of the circuit is good, and you look at the condition of everything, and it looks good. He added he likes the layout of the course overall, simply feels that some items related to runoff room and room to be able to stop a broken-down racer safely are things that need to be addressed."
Good points.
Formula One points leader Nico Rosberg also expressed some minor concerns, but he only said that he does trust the FIA, the governing body of Formula One, who he said have done all the calculations and simulations. They know the speed of the cars. They've checked off on the course, and added, quote, "I'm doubting it a little bit because looking at those corners," and then he just kind of trailed off and said, "but let's see." Well, some of those voices must have been heard because Formula One officials have said they're going to make some minor changes to the course after Friday's practice sessions. GP1, which is a Formula One feeder series, had their qualifying session delayed because 90% of the cars had their left tires cut down from bolts that extrude out from the curbing on the turns in 6 and 12. Formula One officials warned the drivers around those bolts during their first practice since it was shown to be loose. The curbing of those two turns was removed after all the on-track action was completed. The curbing is now going to be painted on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Here's the thing. Formula One officials are going to have to be all over that.
Yeah.
Because without the physical curbing there, with just paint, how long is it going to take for a driver to say, well, how much can I get away with before Formula One says, you need to make sure you're going on the outside of that?
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Sure.
It's a given.
Yeah.
You're going to go try and do everything that you can.
Pit entry lane also being extended. That means that Formula One drivers are going to have to slow down earlier to get down to pit road speed. In other words, well before actually going behind the wall. That change was announced due to concerns about the actual entrance to get behind the wall off the racing course. It was way too narrow. Haas F1 driver Esteban Gutierrez said that the solution is better than nothing, but added that he would like to see alterations made to the pit road exit as well. Formula One has not said anything about that, at least not as of airtime. So the narrowness of this had everyone concerned that when you go in there, if you miscalculate going at the speeds that you're going, so they extended out the entrance to it, so you have to slow down earlier. I like that. Apparently the exit's also narrow, but here's the thing. You're at pit road speed. I'm not so worried about the exit. I'm worried about getting in because I definitely don't want to slam a wall going in. Yeah. Coming off a pit road, I'm not as worried about it.
Yeah, you're not at that speed, that max speed that you're coming in the first place, so you can actually do it a lot better, a lot easier. I'd be a little bit more concerned with that entrance as well. I think everybody will.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be interesting to see this. I got to see some pictures of it yesterday. I wasn't able to see any of the practice because it happened while I was up here at the radio station yesterday. But I'm interested to watch this race because it's a street course. They don't run a whole lot of street courses in Formula One, and this is brand new for them, and I'm intrigued to watch it and see how they do and how this works out. But at this point in time, with the drivers being as concerned as they are, I'm a little more than mildly concerned should something happen in the wrong area.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start thinking about the safety. We talk about safety all the time.
Right.
You got to make sure that you're spot on when it comes to this because if you make one stupid move,
you're going to have one car running over another.
Or you cut one corner or you don't address something the right way, you're going to have a serious issue on your hands. And Formula One does not need that right now.
No.
At all. No one needs that right now.
Not at all. Formula One head Bernie Ecclestone has been mentioning since the first year of the reborn Grand Prix of the United States in Austin, Texas, that he does desire another U.S.-based Grand Prix. He's talked about some New Jersey race with New York City as a backdrop. Yeah, that's dead. Now it seems more than likely that Las Vegas may get the event should it happen. A report from the BBC now is stating that a Chinese conglomerate, otherwise unnamed, states they're willing to commit a serious investment into an event that will be held using part of the famed Las Vegas Strip, which that could be interesting.
We talked about it, 3 weeks ago?
Something like that, yeah. Las Vegas,
it's kind of hard.
The casinos are a bit reticent about this because, let's face it, the Strip is famous for the reason that it goes in between all those casinos and resorts.
That's where their money's coming in.
That's where the money comes in. I understand that there are a lot of people that will go and sit on the sidelines and they'll watch a race and then probably just turn around and walk into a casino and gamble their lives away.
Yeah, but you're kind of ushering people in certain directions now.
Yeah, but you're eliminating a whole lot of traffic.
You are. That's going to be a whole lot of losses for a whole lot of casinos.
Yeah. I think that the backdrop would be fantastic. It'd be beautiful. It'd be kind of like Monaco to a certain extent, and the fact that you got this great backdrop going through the city. But there's a lot of work still to be done here.
Yeah, it's not like it's Baltimore. It's not like it's Los Angeles or anything.
Yeah, it's not
like that.
Long Beach. Where, by the way, they've run Long Beach in Formula One.
But there's not a lot of casinos there.
No,
a lot of these cities that they can kind of do that, Monaco and stuff like that. You got some great backdrops. You got some great scenery. It's not Las Vegas. Las Vegas is its own thing.
I will say this, and this creates even a little bit more of a problem because once you get into the nighttime, it gets even that much more packed on the Las Vegas Strip.
Yes.
But if you were to do this race at night, it would be amazing to watch.
It would be.
With the backdrop.
I agree.
But the logistics become even worse than if you do it during the day.
Yeah, it's one of those, wow, that'd be really cool, but man, that would be really bad.
Yeah. And you got to do this thing either early or late in the year. I don't think you do 2 American races back-to-back. I think you do it real early, quite frankly. Maybe not the beginning race of the year. I'd leave that to Australia. But I think you got to do it somewhere early in the year because if you get into this point in time of the year, it's going to be hot. I've been in Vegas at this time of the year.
It's going to be warm.
Hot.
It's going to be very warm.
And I don't care. All of you can sit there and say, but it's out in Vegas, it's in the desert, it's a dry heat. Yeah, it's a dry heat. Guess what ain't dry? Sweat.
Yes.
And if it's 101 in the shade, I don't care how dry it is humidity-wise, you're still sweating your butt off.
You will. You'll still sweat. Yes.
And then you got to put yourself in a car.
It's
hot. Hot.
It still would be cool, though, but
it'd be fun to watch.
I think it's the fact that
we've got to be at least 2 years away. Easy.
Yeah. Well, logistically, you got to also look at the fact that a lot of these tracks bring these races in because they want to boost up their tourism. They want to boost up everything that's going on. If you're doing this and you're killing your tourism that you're hoping to build upon,
you're killing probably much of your domestic, so to speak, and you're killing the tourism of the people that would have come there just to come to Vegas to gamble and take in the sights and so on and so forth.
A lot of people are going to go, no, I'm not going.
But if you think about it, you've got 11 Formula One teams that are bringing drivers, cars, support crew, blah 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 blah. They're all coming in. Plus, you got fans from around the world who are going to want to see this.
Yeah.
So I guess the question would be, does it even out? It might.
I just don't think it's a really good win-win for the city and for.
I don't know. Again, the logistics of this whole thing. There's a long way to go before we get to the point where this becomes finalized.
Now, if they can, they could always make some nice overpasses, pedestrian walkways over top of the track there.
Oh, they've got them.
I mean, you could have a nice little tunnel type system there where they could put those in.
Especially if you're down at the south end, because I've been there, and it's a lot of fun to be there. I was there just last year for the trivia contest.
Yeah.
And if you go down towards the end by Luxor, MGM Grand, Excalibur, New York, there are those bridges that go up over the Las Vegas Strip to where you could stand on them and watch.
Yeah.
And there are places that you could set aside. But again, you've got to deal with the logistics of the fact that the Strip is a very popular place to be.
It is.
And people love to cruise up and down it just like we used to do when we were kids. If you remember. At least I did. I wasted many gallons of gas cruising up and down in Hoover.
I spent many on the University of Delaware campus.
Yeah. So, it's a popular place to be. It's a popular place to go. The logistics of this, they got a long way to go before this happens. I think it's a minimum of 2 years. Even if they said, yes, we are going and sign the deal, I don't think you've got enough time to be able to make this happen next year.
No way.
You're going to probably have to wait until 2018.
It's going to be a few.
At the earliest.
Yes.
Next year, by the way, new tires. And Formula One and Pirelli, first of all, have come to terms on a contract extension. It's going to keep the tire maker as the sole tire provider for the series through at least 2019. The Italian rubber maker had a deal with F1 management to stay in the sport, but it needed to be approved by the governing body, FIA. That was made official on Friday. In the agreement, there is now a schedule of testing for 2017 tire compounds and sizes because they're going up in size. Pirelli feels that they're going to give them a good cross-section of test results, and it'll help them feel more comfortable about those bigger size tires that are being mandated for 2017. In total, 25 days of testing that'll use 2015 cars, but they're going to wear the new tires that are going to be taller and they're going to be wider than the tires that are being used this season because Formula One wants to see higher speeds. Sometimes at some courses, some of the faster courses, they're hoping to gain or drop off, I guess is probably the better way to put it, as much as 5 seconds off of the times that are being done this year. That is impressive,
Yes.
but at the same time, we're upping the danger factor.
Yes, it is impressive, but that's your one concern. You got to think about that in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, safety.
Yeah. It's, again, the thought of seeing these cars being able to handle going around these turns that much faster, 3 to 5 miles per hour probably at minimum, which is going to allow you to cut the speeds down because obviously you're coming out of the turns much faster than what you are this season, so therefore you go down the straightaway at a much faster speed. There's the danger aspect of racing that we've always loved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but we have lost many people. We've lost the Ayrton Sennas. We've lost the Dale Earnhardts. We've lost the Adam Pettys, the Kenny Irwins, and that's just quote-unquote recently. I say recently within the past 20 years. If you go back before that, we could probably start to list off, I don't know, dozens, if not hundreds, of men and women who lost their lives because of racing. And the dangers that are involved in that. And that's part of why we love racing. It's people that are on the edge and pressing and pushing the envelope, if you want to use that phrase, of putting their lives on the line. And these men and these women that get behind the wheel of race cars in whatever series it is that they're going into know that there is that chance, despite the fact that your NASCARs and your NHRAs and your Formula Ones and your IndyCars and the Le Mans series and the Tudor United Sports Car series and whatever series that's out there are trying to build in so much safety into these cars. At some point in time, if you do something bad enough or with enough force, it doesn't matter the safety aspects that are built into these cars. There's going to be something that's going to be catastrophically wrong. And unfortunately, we saw it just last year, Jules Bianchi.
Yeah.
So I worry about that aspect. There's a part of me that says this will be more exciting for the fans in some aspects because of the danger part of it has been ramped up just that much more. And John, feel free to jump in here. But when is it too much? Right about where the lightsaber goes off.
Yeah. That was perfect timing.
Right about when Darth Vader comes in.
I was just going to say that I was traveling 45 miles an hour and spent 2 months in ICU from a wreck.
Right.
These guys are going 200 plus miles an hour. Come on. Mm-hmm. So they have a roll cage. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and we're putting the new Halo system on next year.
Which doesn't help.
But still, you can't take away that danger factor.
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
can't step up the entertainment value for the fans at the same time decrease the safety value for your drivers.
This is true.
That you need the fans.
This is true.
My God, that is the smartest thing I think I've ever said.
You can mitigate the danger somewhat, but there's still going to be that overriding factor.
Formula One is running a very delicate balancing act here.
Yeah, and they don't need to play that balancing act right now. Right now, they need to worry about the drivers. They need to worry about the safety. Forget the fans right now. And this is not saying forget the fans like, oh, the fans don't matter. The fans matter. The drivers matter. The teams matter. Every person that is involved in it matters.
All right, well, let's look at it from another angle.
Okay.
We still see this. It's now 15 plus years after the fact. How many times do we go out to Talladega and still see Dale Earnhardt 3 shirts?
Every single
weekend.
It's always going to happen.
Yeah,
as long as they make 3 shirts.
Weekend. Get over to Formula One. How many people remember well Ayrton Senna?
Not as much.
Still do.
I mean, there's a lot. I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've just started getting into Formula One a lot more recently.
Ayrton Senna, with all due respect to all you people who put Dale Earnhardt Jr. or Dale Earnhardt Sr. up on this pedestal, you got to understand that there is a Dale Earnhardt Sr. in every single racing series, and Ayrton Senna was at least on par.
There's a Dale Earnhardt Sr. in every sport known to mankind.
Absolutely. Okay, Ayrton Senna was every single bit as popular as Dale Earnhardt.
Wow.
And every single bit as controversial.
Now, I just heard about him. Mm-hmm. As I'm learning more about the sport.
I mean, you get a Michael Schumacher who obviously won 7 titles and is the all-time record holder, but we can honestly say that while Michael Schumacher is injured to the point where he is, almost invalid, that didn't happen on the course.
No.
It happened to Ayrton Senna on a course.
Yeah.
Okay? Go back and watch the movie Rush, which all three of us have watched. We know what happened in that film.
Yes.
Okay? Well, that happened in real life. The man still has all the burns all over his face. The fact that it did not kill him is actually quite amazing.
Yes. Extremely amazing.
Okay, so when you look at racing as a whole, it is a very dangerous thing to get into. It's a lot of fun. And trust me, there is nothing in the world I would rather be doing if I'm weren't on the radio than be behind the wheel of a car on a track.
Yeah.
And I'm not that good because I don't have the training for it.
You could beat me. There you go.
Okay, but still, I'm not that good. If we were to go out and the three of us, as the fastest hour in radio, were to be put out at Late Model Mark's Talladega Short Track, the three of us would get our butts kicked. The race might be between the three of us, but we'd be laps down by the time the whole thing got done because they are much better than we are. They've got training. They've been doing it longer.
I could take Garrett Lloyd.
Okay.
Late Model Mark, here's the challenge.
Jay Schiller ain't got nothing on me.
I'd be over the side is what I would be because there's no wall there.
You know what?
in
I
the
could even
turns.
beat Cruz Skinner.
As top,
I want to
if
see
you
these
could
guys
do-
so bad. As a matter of fact, I was actually thinking of going out to the track tonight.
If you could do that, I want to sell tickets because I'll make a boatload.
As they all grab their phones right now to call and
Yeah, really.
just jump me.
as was so well said in the movie Top Gun, your ego's writing checks your body can't cash.
Yeah, but checks are just checks. It's not actually physically cash.
Yeah, right up until the point where they actually take it to the bank and go, here.
I'm just going to pay the whole thing off right now. Here
Yes.
you go.
These guys, they're very talented
They
people.
are.
Some of them have been doing it since they were 5 years old.
They've been doing it since they were able to walk.
Exactly. And I've got the ultimate respect for them, and I appreciate the fact that they want to put on a good show, and they want to have that edge, and they want to define that edge. But here's the thing. Your margin for error becomes even that much thinner now that you've got these tires that can handle the higher speeds going through the corners, and you are talking 3 to 5 seconds per lap off of the time that's being set this year.
Yeah.
That edge becomes so thin that, quite frankly, I wish that would be on my razor that I shave with, because it'd be a very, very close shave. These guys are riding the ragged edge of disaster, and
Already.
already, and now they're going to add this into it. I got to admit, I've got some concern.
I do too. And I'll stick with that saying. When you start, they're worrying more about the entertainment value. That's all they're worrying about.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Well, and there's so much available out there when it comes to entertainment, especially now. Okay, we talk about all the racing series that are out there, and it seems like we're continuing to get another new racing series almost every year.
Yeah.
Stadium super trucks have become big now, apparently. Plus, now we're starting to see with the X Games going on, they've got that, it's not motocross, it's something that's similar to it. It's autocross, I guess, for lack of a better term, for guys like Tanner Faust, who are going into stadiums with cars like VW Polos and Golfs and little itty-bitty compact cars, and they're doing jumps, and they're going through these courses that are built into stadiums side by side. These things are getting popular. So as we get further on into the racing world and people start to understand that, hey, we're looking for that kind of entertainment, we're dividing the dollars down, or the Deutschmarks or the euros or whatever denomination you want to put out there. We're dividing it down into smaller and smaller pieces of pie all the time.
Yes.
So it's not just like it's NASCAR, Formula One, IndyCar, and the NHRA anymore. There's so many other different series that are out there that can be covered that our eyes would start to just spin if we tried to cover them all.
You could probably watch something different every day all week long and never watch the same thing twice.
Probably so. So with all of that going into smaller and smaller pieces of pie, you're looking for more ways of keeping the entertainment dollars within your own series. Do you do this at the expense of the driver's safety?
No. Sorry,
Wow,
it
look
doesn't.
at that.
What's that?
Presence.
Cole, I love presents. You don't. You should be more focused on your drivers rather than anything else. Those are your people. Those are your people that have helped you build the sport at which you want to put their lives on the line.
Yeah, exactly. If I am correct about this, I'm going to play a little phone suicide, but I do believe this will be late model Mark.
I hope so.
Is this late model Mark?
He probably
doesn't even have the.
He doesn't even have the button pushed.
John doesn't even have the phone button pushed for us. So hang on for us.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay, is this late model Mark? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, there it is. All right. All right. Where are we going wrong, late model Mark? Are we wrong in saying that we're worried that this is, I don't know, putting the safety of the drivers a little bit too much in the background?
Well, let me be honest with you. For the last 10 minutes, I listened to your show. I am sitting, as we speak, right behind the grandstands here at Talladega Short Track as I'm making a delivery for my fine products here. And so I have missed the last 10 minutes of your show. But
I'm glad.
Can I get on my soapbox, guys, just for a couple minutes?
I'll tell you what, we're right up against a break. Let's do this. Let us put you on hold, and when we come back, we're going to let you have your soapbox for as long as you want it.
You're a good man, Steve, and you're a good man, Dustin. I'll be right here.
Hold up for us, and we will be back, and we'll take late model Mark's call, and I'm going to throw you under the bus. Because he may have missed the last 10 minutes, but I'm going to tell late model Mark everything you just said.
Why? Why are we going to do that?
Because you asked for
You're
it.
supposed to be my friend.
And I am, and because I'm your friend, I'm going to make you pay for it.
Thanks.
Here we go. Stick around. Final 30 minutes coming up next.
You're listening to the fastest hour in radio on Superstation 101.
Let's face it, it's always been hard to kick the smoking habit until now. Don't wait to take the next step of pulling away from the pack. Experience the healthier alternative of smoking by vaping with Wild Vapors. Whether you're taking the turn or coming along in the straightaway, it's time to hit the deep brakes on cigarettes and turn into Wild Vapors. Wild Vapors is known for their signature formula for their own brands. They only use the purest vaping juice on the circuit without sucralose or diacetyl. Stop filling up your tank with the wrong fuel and swap to the healthier, cleaner solution through Wild Vapors. The crew at Wild Vapors is there to answer your questions and concerns about vaping. They're the reliable team you need as your pit crew when taking the turn towards the healthier alternative to cigarettes. They offer a full line of vaping supplies and guidance to help you quit cigarettes without falling off the track. Make sure you miss the big one by ditching the cigarettes and stop in at Wild Vapors. Find the healthier alternative to smoking. Make your next pit stop at Wild Vapors of Sylacauga today. 256-369-2569. Find them in the Sylacauga Walmart Shopping Center or their Alexander City location. Stay on track with Wild Vapors.
Yeah, there's a part of me that just wants to let this run, but I know we can't. Welcome back into the show. 941-1011, toll free 866-551-9933. Those are the numbers, and that is where late model Mark from Talladega Short Track has checked in with us. And you missed about the last 10 minutes. We've been talking for the last 10 minutes or so about Pirelli, which has signed a deal with Formula One. They're going to be the tire maker through 2019, but they're going to that bigger size tire because Formula One is asking to cut the lap times next year in Formula One by like 3 to 5 seconds. Are we asking too much? I mean, we're already kind of riding a ragged edge when it comes to safety, when it comes to these drivers in comparison to the entertainment value. Is this asking too much?
No, I don't think think so. If they're going to go to a wider tire, maybe what is it going to be? Maybe an inch or maybe an inch and a half wider, maybe on the rear, and maybe the same on the front. Of course, every time we talk about Formula One, that I talk to you about it is, hey, Bernie, please lose the turbochargers. They sound like Kirby vacuums. I know it's redundant, and I say it every time,
right.
But a little bit of tire will give them some traction. But like I said, right now I'm at the Talladega Short Track, and I'm making a delivery, and I see my boss just walked up to the back of the truck, and I want to talk about tonight's races if I can.
Please do. Please do.
Tonight here at Talladega, we have a really cool event tonight. We have the National Vintage Racing Association coming in tonight to our track, and they come in once a year every June. And this is really cool stuff. You will see 50s, 60s, and 70s era stock cars with big block 427s, the tires sticking out, old real steel race cars. You'll see dirt modifieds, coupes, and like I said, they come in each and every June here to our track. They bring about 16 to 20 cars. They all mix them together. I mean, you may see like a 60s version of a stock car with a big wing up on top, and it is really, really cool. Really good stuff. And that's one of our specialties tonight, along with our 6 division program. But may I get on my soapbox now?
Sure. That said, reserve a couple of seats for us here at the Fastest Hour in Radio.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
My soapbox. Here we are, 90 minutes into the program. Correct, gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in your promo, you say local short track racing stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
Come on, guys. Please, I'm begging from behalf of the Talladega racers who asked me last Saturday night. I'm on my hands and knees. Well, not really, but kind of. Please talk about short track racing for at least 30 minutes. I mean, we got Sayre, Moulton, East Alabama, Talladega, Huntsville, Montgomery. Please.
That's why we wait on you, Mark.
Yeah. You're actually much more the expert than we are.
You know what happened.
Oh, you guys certainly know how to butter the toast. Very good. Excellent.
We count on you to call in and tell us about all the great action, man.
Well, I don't want to be like a super blabbermouth hog on everything here.
You're just as much a part of this show as any of us here.
Well, and I will say this. I've been in contact with Robbie Edger up at Huntsville Speedway. He knows that the invitation is open. He can call in at any point in time, and I would love for him to call in.
C.W. Stanton down there
C.W.
at
Stanton, Penton Raceway. Yeah. It's wide open. We'd love to have everyone call in. Here's the thing. We don't have contact numbers for everybody. For example, we don't have contact information for people at Montgomery or Sayre. Would love to find out more about them.
Yeah, Steve and I have also been talking about going out to a lot of these tracks, too, and just kind of going out and checking things out. That way we could talk about it on the show, talk about some real good local dirt track racing.
Outstanding. I appreciate that. Well, Dustin, I got a project for you since I asked you last week. Hop on your computer and go to either Dirt on Dirt or Eldora Speedway, and please report on who won the $100,000 to win Dirt Late Model Dream last Saturday night. It was quite an upset.
Okay.
And this weekend, the Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Series is over just across the Alabama straight line at Magnolia Motor Speedway in Columbus, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yesterday they got rained out. It was originally a $20,000 to win 2-day show.
Wow.
Now it's a single-day show with $12,000 to win. The best in the business for national touring late models are over at Magnolia Motor Speedway tonight. But here at Talladega Short Track, as I'm watching the grader take off the top 4 inches of the dirt after yesterday's deluge.
Yeah.
We're going to have a very good program tonight with the gates opening at 5, hot laps at 7 o'clock, super late model qualifying at 8. A high ticket entry fee of only $10 to get in tonight. Children 9 under free. And once again, I enjoyed listening to your show all the way up to the track here before I had to cut it off.
Okay.
And,
well, let me say this because you probably missed this as well. Because I can't let Dustin get by without this. We got to talking about how the three of us, we love racing, and there's nothing more than we would love to do if we weren't being behind a microphone talking about racing than to be on the track racing. But here's the thing. If you put us, the three of us, into a car out there, and I don't care what division it would be in, we'd likely get our butt kicked because there are people out there, whether they're people like Cruz Skinner or they've been out there for a long time like a Jay Schiller, who they've been doing this for a long time. We have hardly any experience whatsoever behind the wheel of a car. To which Dustin then said he felt like he could kick Garrett Lloyd's butt.
I said I could take Garrett Lloyd, and I stepped it up.
I think that's a challenge that now you almost have to put us on the track.
I stepped it up, though.
All of you, and including John, you're dreaming.
No, trust me. Dustin's the only one that said that he could beat Garrett Lloyd. I know that Garrett Lloyd would kick my ever-living butt and probably lap me 2 or 3 times in a 10-lap feature. I get that.
Just 2 or 3?
Yeah, really, if I'm lucky. But I think that you need to put us on the track so that we can bear this out, because Dustin needs to be humbled and brought down a couple of pegs.
It was a joke. It was just a joke.
I'll talk to my boss about that.
No, man.
We need a media race, man. That's what we need. We need a media race.
You're not going to have the 3 that I mentioned, are you?
Well, all right.
Because I didn't just mention Garrett.
Justin, the way I've heard you drive up to Maryland, I don't know if I want you in a race car. Yeah.
What's that supposed to mean?
You know exactly what it means.
I made it from Maryland to Alabama in 13 hours and 23 minutes, and it actually takes 13 and a half hours, and I lost an hour and a half due to traffic.
that's pretty self-explanatory right there. But like I said, man, please a little more short track racing. Got 30 minutes.
We'll do what we can.
And of course, the internet is out there. Oh, one thing before I go, since I'm about ready to deliver my chips. Actually Thursday night I made the purchase to get NHRA All Access, which you go on the internet, and it's like $99, and it gives you the races from the first run on Friday morning to the last run on Sunday.
Right.
And I thought, Thunder Valley at Bristol, which is one of the absolute coolest drag strips in the world, one of my bucket list tracks that I'm going to next year.
Nice.
I thought, what the heck? They gave me a 30% discount. It was like $60, and I put it on yesterday when I got home Friday. And watching nighttime racing the Thunder Valley is out dang standing, and it's worth every dang penny of it. So the NHRA All Access thing is just wonderful. But
very cool.
I got to get back to work, gentlemen. You're doing a fine job. And more short track racing, please. And no one cares if Greg Biffle's crew chief is getting a pedicure. And, we want more short track racing, but you guys are awesome. I got to run. Thanks.
We'll see you tonight, my friend. We'll see you tonight.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Here's your dirt track racing update.
All right. This
Late
is
model
Eldora?
Mark. This is Eldora. This was last weekend out in Rossburg, Ohio. Eldora. We had Dennis Erb Jr. scores $100,000. Dirt late model dream victory. And the headline here says, Eldora major event victory drought for state of Illinois is finally over.
Oh, nice.
Fought back to the lead 3 times. He's 43 years old. He regained the lead for the final time with 11 laps remaining. Survived a last-second yellow flag at Eldora for a career-high $100,000 victory in the dirt late model dream presented by Ferris Mowers.
Nice.
So
good job by him.
Yes.
Hopefully that's, we think about these tracks and we hear about an Eldora. I was looking up at the track, Knoxville Raceway, which is up in Iowa, by the way, not Knoxville Speedway, not Knoxville, Tennessee, but Knoxville, Iowa. And that is a very, very highly thought of short track. Short track racing, quite frankly, I think gets kind of the short shrift because even NASCAR does it. Because you think about all the tracks that are out there that are a mile and a half or longer, and that does include our bosses at Talladega and Daytona. I get that. But I think we've lost something of our roots because that's where racing starts. That's where racing begins. Mm-hmm. It begins on those short tracks, which are 3/4 of a mile, 2/3 of a mile, 5/8 of a mile, half a mile. A big track on a small town or a small racing circuit a big track is like Richmond, 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah.
That's a big track.
It is.
Most of them are half mile or even less.
Yeah.
Sayre is a small little track. He mentioned Sayre. I've been there. Sayre is a small little track, really, really high banks. Whew. They get some speeds over there. We ought to go out there one weekend. We'll have to show.
We have a lot to get to.
Yeah, there's a lot that we need to get to. We've mentioned it before. We've been to Talladega. Love it out there. I have seen Montgomery. I've not seen a race there, but I've seen the track.
Of course, our buddy Clint has told us to come down to Penton anytime that we want.
Penton is
He's
there.
even said there's 2 microphones down there waiting for us, so we can get on there and have a ball with him.
Exactly. Huntsville Speedway, again, I mentioned the Edgers. I've gotten to know them a little bit through social media. Hopefully we're going to be able to get them on and talk more about Huntsville Speedway, but there's Fort Payne, which is up in the northeast corner of the state of Alabama, and there's probably more tracks out there than we even know about.
We could actually, and this is just saying, I mean, we started out with an hour show. We've got an hour and a half now. We could add easily another 30 minutes and make an entire 30 minutes about short track racing.
Yeah, but we need to know this because here's the thing. While we know about a Talladega short track and we can tell you that they do run at a Huntsville and a Montgomery and a Fort Payne and Sayre and all these, we don't know enough about those tracks. We need the late model marks of those tracks to call us and help us fill in those details.
So for those of you out there who know somebody that works at those tracks, or you do yourself work at those tracks like Late Model Mark does at Talladega Short Track, he just called us up one Saturday and it turned into every week, and it's been great because we've built such a great reputation with them. But we invite you. So if you're a driver, if you're someone, a race fan that goes out to these tracks, get in touch with them. Have them get in touch with us. Have them give us a call, 866-551-9933, and tell us what happened last weekend at your track. We want to do more of that.
Yeah, and it's not just those. I mean, those are the ones that are in our, Montgomery is a little bit on the edge, but in our listening area, okay? It's not just those. I mean, you talk about within 4 hours drive from right here is the well-noted Five Flags Speedway, which is in Pensacola. There's Mobile Speedway where ARCA Series has run in the past. As a matter of fact, I think it was earlier this year they ran at Mobile. So, Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, all of them within 4 or 5 hours from where we are right now, for a night of entertainment where, if you went out to dinner, you spend $100, you spend $100 by going and driving to these and getting a nice cheap ticket, and the entire family can go and they're all entertained.
They might be outside of our signal area here for our flamethrower of a signal, Michael Hart. But we've also got the app, Superstation 101
Sure.
app. They can tune in right there. We can talk about the tracks down there in Mobile. You get all those people want to listen in and stuff like that.
I'll talk about a track in California if you want to call in and talk about a track in California. And here's the thing. We're the one paying for the phone bill. 9411011 is the local number, but there's a toll-free number. It's 866-551-9933. So if you're still doing the old style where you're paying for your long distance, first of all, get a cell phone and update your program.
Tony, I don't want to know.
But second of all, if you're still, if you feel like you need to grab the old rotary phone, good God, if you still got one of those.
Don't hate.
Pick up the phone. Dial us, 866-551-9933. We'll talk to people in Hawaii and Alaska. We don't care.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw some great racing action wherever you are in the world and you want to talk about it, call us. Tell us about it.
Love to hear from you. Absolutely. Let's see. Where are we going as we get back into Formula One? Sorry, late model Mark. The BBC is reporting as we go back to Las Vegas. First of all, the organizing group of the proposal for the Las Vegas, should it happen, Formula One event is called P2M Motorsports, led by a guy by the name of Farid Shidfar. Watch how you say that.
Yeah, I looked up real quick.
He told the BBC, quote, "They are very close to Las Vegas and have got business in media, sport, technology, and entertainment, so they're a massive conglomerate, this Chinese conglomerate that wants to put serious money into this effort." Said, quote, "They came to us out of the blue late last year because of the initiatives they're involved with in the state of Nevada, and we have been in due diligence since then. The benefits they derive are very strategic, so that's what they are very excited about." BBC report also adds the event could be run as soon as next year, which I doubt, using many of the famed Las Vegas landmarks as a backdrop. Managing partner of F1's track design group, Tilke, said, quote, "We have successfully designed a racetrack which is partly on the Las Vegas Strip and does not impact any resort." I don't see how you made that work.
I don't know.
The track definitely has its own character and shall provide drivers high-speed challenges with different sharp corners. Best part, the track is designed to host a large number of spectators. I can't wait to see the first car fire up. I believe the Vegas race will become one of the highlights of the F1 calendar. I don't disagree with that. Should it happen, I don't disagree with that.
It would definitely be a great event if it took place.
All right.
If it happens.
We go back, way back into the 19 teens, early 20s, and into the 30s. We had this thing called the 18th Amendment.
Okay.
18th Amendment caused prohibition.
Right.
How did that work out for us?
It gave us NASCAR.
Yeah. What else did it give us?
I don't like. What do you want here? What am I going for?
ABC store.
No, what it gave us was television shows and movies like The Untouchables based upon real-life experiences dealing with prohibition, where we had a whole lot of people that were bringing in booze across the border and doing illegal things.
Loves catching me off guard because I don't know where he was going with that.
Okay.
What's the first thing that comes off of the top of your head?
NASCAR?
Okay, second thing that comes off. When it comes to prohibition, was it a good thing for this country by and large?
It was.
You think?
I think it was.
Because it got us NASCAR?
What? Not because it got us NASCAR. I think it brought us a lot of those, those early, those heroes, like with the Untouchables.
Oh, like Al Capone?
Elliot Ness.
No. I mean, as like Elliot Ness and all those. It gave us. Those were like those early superheroes. Cops were like superheroes to the kids and stuff.
All right.
So it gave us those guys that we looked up to, and you love watching Dick Tracy.
Well, you did.
Okay,
I thought the movie with Warren Beatty was absolutely god-awful.
my bad.
Why do you think I didn't mention it?
Oh, so you let me? Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
appreciate it. That
throw
Goodyear
you-
feels good.
We're going to throw you right under the bus. Hang on.
Pirelli.
We're going to talk about why we're mentioning prohibition here in just a moment. First of all, Brian checking in. Hi, Brian. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing well. What you got on your mind?
Oh, I just called. I'm actually traveling back up to the state of Illinois from a vacation in Panama City Beach, and I just called to tell you I really enjoy listening to your show. Everybody's asleep in the car, but I heard you guys talking about some dirt track racing, and of course the Eldor Dream, and that's usually a trip that I usually go to. But this time, I guess my wife booked a trip to Panama City Beach, and I missed it.
So we were able to at least update you.
Yeah. Well, I keep on track of it. The gentleman actually told you the Dennis Erb that won it from the state of Illinois. There's actually a big, long story of it. He at one time was called the he traveled the national series, and his father passed away. He followed his dad, growing up racing around him. His dad was killed in a tragic accident inside the race shop, and then this gentleman traveled a national series with just his grandfather sometimes, and most of the time it was just him. And he was actually given the name of the one-man band, and it's kind of cool that this guy, you know, he has a female crew chief and very small, low key racer to go win a national big race at Eldora for $100,000. Probably the biggest late model race there is in the United States.
Well deserving.
Or money wise.
Very well deserving. Then that is good stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate the heads up, Brian. That was good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I just really enjoyed you guys' show's pretty cool. We don't have anything like this up at home, so.
All right. Well, very cool. Hey, we appreciate you checking us out, and don't forget about us. We're on each Saturday morning starting at 7 a.m. Central Time, and if you look up either on your TuneIn app, which you can get that and look up Superstation 101, or you can actually get an app that is specifically for us. Just look up Superstation 101 and check us out every Saturday morning, okay?
I'll have to do that. You guys got a good show going on.
Thank you so much, Brian. We appreciate it very much.
Well, take care.
You too. We appreciate it. Okay, so the reason I mentioned the Prohibition, and that was cool stuff, stuff that we didn't know about. Dennis
Yeah, see, that's what I love.
Yeah,
the racing
absolutely.
community is awesome.
Yeah, because we're going to be the first people to admit we know what we know, but that's somewhat limited in scope. So we love it when you fill in the details.
Yeah, when there's a personal story, a personal backstory that's able to be brought in on a lot of these people, because a lot of people don't know a lot when it comes to a drive route in Idaho or California, but you got a story? Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yep, absolutely. Prohibition Group is seeking a meeting with Formula One officials. They want to try and sell them on the idea of banning all sponsorship related to alcohol. Good luck. Secretary General of the European Alcohol Policy Alliance, Marianne Scarr. She's written an open letter addressed to FIA President Jean Todt and expressed concern about the deal that was announced just last week with Dutch beer maker Heineken and the prominence of other alcoholic beverage-related sponsorships during each Formula One event. She's seeking Formula One to ban alcoholic beverage sponsorship the way that it did tobacco sponsorship about a decade ago. There's been no response at this time from anyone within the FIA or Formula One, and I'll tell you why. If you watch the race tomorrow morning, how many cars will you see that have alcohol advertising on?
Not just that, but what are we supposed to do when it comes to podium time? What are we going to do? Oh, hey, guys, we're not going to do champagne because we can't do that anymore. We're going to do, everybody, get your poppers, get your little poppers, and yay, poof, we won.
Here's the milk.
Club soda.
Club soda.
Milk.
It's seltzer water.
Yeah, that might be true, too. I in all the stuff that we just talked about, Sayre, Montgomery, Huntsville, Fort Payne, Wilsonville, Pinton, Talladega Short Track.
The list goes on.
We missed the guys that are like 20 miles east of where we are right now.
Then we've gone and seen some great racing.
Absolutely. We've gone and seen IndyCar and some of the feeder series that are there at Barber. Craig calling in about Barber Motorsports Park. Hi, Craig.
Hey, good evening. Good morning. How you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. I was just I've been starting to listen to you guys and hadn't heard you mention much about Barbers. That's a world-class track here in Birmingham. And, you guys talking about Formula One, and they run Indy cars out here.
Yeah.
And but it's just a blast. I'm an owner of an ASA stock car that's set up for road racing, and that's what I've been doing. And they also, I know you guys were talking about being able to get on the track and drive. Have you guys ever thought about coming out to Barbers for a driving event and just driving the track in cars?
I'd love to.
Thought about that?
I'd love to.
Steve has discussed it at length several times on the show, talking about getting his car out there, his GTO.
Right. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. They've got Miatas, and as a matter of fact, I'm headed out there right now. The Horse Club of Alabama is holding an event and a driving event. So there's a lot of nice cars, and there's no charge to get in to come out there and watch. And the neat thing about that is where you're kind of segregated at NASCAR events unless you have the passes to get into the pits. At road racing, you can actually walk up to the cars and talk to the drivers and interact with them more so than some of the bigger leagues. So,
true.
But anyway, it's overall great time, and I'd love to hear you guys talk more about road racing.
We'll do what we can.
Yeah, man.
Good deal. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Craig. We appreciate it so much.
Bye.
See, again, there's so much going on in the racing world.
That's
really
what I'm
is.
saying. I mean, it's hard for us, to hit as much as we hit each week in the 90 minutes that we do, and we've got an additional 30 minutes this week, and there's still tons more.
Yeah.
It's so hard to pick and choose because there's just so much great stuff. I mean, we've both been out to Barber, we've both been around Barber at very, very high speeds.
Yeah, we did the IndyCar racing experience.
Woo!
What was that, 3-4 years ago?
It was 3 years. I had just moved here.
Yeah.
And that was like my first thing I did when I got
Yeah,
here.
and it is a blast. And you're not the person in control. You're in the IndyCar two-seaters. You're sitting in the back seat, and these aren't, I'm not trying to put down the guys that are driving for the IndyCar racing experience, but they're not the regular guys out there. You're not getting the Marco Andretti's and the Joseph Newgardens and
Well, the
all
guy
those
that
guys.
took me around, he was driving in the two-seater. It was actually J.R. Hildebrand's number 4.
Yeah.
And he was actually just turning some laps to get some track time out there. He was in one of the feeder series.
Yeah.
He actually raced in the Indy Lights.
Okay. So these are guys that are also still trying to get some experience out there. But if you get the chance to do it, you sit in the back seat and you think, well, you've got, all the safety equipment around you. Trust me, you can see a good bit because you're constantly going right and left, especially at a Barber. And it's a lot of fun. I'm here to tell you, you start to really get a good idea exactly what these drivers go through in IndyCar, and it will give you something of an idea of what they deal with in NASCAR, in Formula One, in the NHRA, because you get an idea of the G-forces that these drivers are being subject to every single weekend, regardless of what the track is, regardless of whether it's a road course or whether it's a super speedway or whether it's a short track. And after having gone through 2 laps of you and I, because they gave us a warm-up lap, and I'm like, well, this was kind of underwhelming. And I'm thinking that right about the time when he bypassed pit road, and I went, oh, we get another lap! Because right at the time that I thought lap, he slammed the accelerator to the floor.
Yeah.
And he was gone.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to get it. And after 2 laps, I got out of the car and I went, holy cow, now I know what the drivers in NASCAR are talking about when they get out after 500 laps at Bristol. And that was, for me, 2 laps.
I had a newfound appreciation for the word grip.
Yes, because you are constantly thinking, oh my God, we're going to hit the wall.
What did you do? White knuckle it all the way around?
No, actually, I was fine. It was. I got into the car. I was all excited, get strapped in. The guy's like stepping down on my shoulder as he's getting strapped down, locked in there. I'm like, well, I'm not going anywhere.
Guess I'm in.
I was not moving at all, except for my head. That was it. And we get off. We start off of pit road, and we hit the line. And as soon as we hit the end of pit road, that last timing line, and he just lommed it down to the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And we go launching down into that first turn that goes down and to the right and comes back out. Oh, I was like, this is not going to stick. This is not going to stick. And it stuck.
It stuck.
And then when he came around that front side and did the same thing that you were talking about, we hit that. I'm like, oh, it's over already. And all of a sudden, it was, as soon as I was like, oh, that's it. And it was like gone.
Time to hit the afterburners.
The first time that first turn
and
was
he
bad.
whipped through that first curve going around where pit road starts to join back up onto the track, which is a left-hand sweeper going into a hairpin to the right. As soon as he made that hairpin to the right and I realized exactly what kind of grip that car had, for the rest of that lap, I had a grin on my face that probably lasted for the entire weekend.
I probably looked like the Joker by the time it was all said and done. I was just like,
because
this is cool.
That was just so much fun. I've been on roller coasters that I've enjoyed, but I never enjoyed any roller coaster more than I enjoyed this. And probably I've been on one of the fastest ones in the entire country. It's one called Millennium Force. We go back to Sandusky, Ohio. We're talking about the fire at Thorsport.
Yes.
Sandusky, Ohio is also home to a theme park called Cedar Point. Cedar Point is well known for having the most roller coasters of any amusement park in the entire country.
Right.
My wife and I, before we actually were married, we took a trip up there and we rode the brand new Millennium Force. Millennium Force has a first hill of 310 feet.
Yes.
And when you drop down the other side, you are at a 75-plus degree angle going down for 300 feet. By the time you hit the bottom, you're doing 95-plus in a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Absolutely cool. Doesn't hold a candle to the IndyCar experience.
Now, I'm telling you right now, if you want to take the ride of your life, you have got to get them. And you've got to get with them at Barber. If you're down here in this area, you take a chance. Go for it. Have a ball.
Yeah.
Experience it. and know that you went that fast around Barber Motorsports Park. Beautiful facility. You don't get to see much of it while you're in the car.
But that you do get to see, you're going to be smiling from ear to ear while you're seeing it.
It's a blur while you're on track, but when you're off the track, it's a gorgeous facility. Love going out there. We've had a great time.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps things up for us. Happy Father's Day.
Yes.
By the way, if you're looking for a gift for Father's Day, go find a racing experience and give Dad that.
Yeah, my dad would totally love me forever.
Quite frankly, the three of us would love it. If you're looking to give us a present. But that said, that wraps it up for us. Hey, live edition of the Entertainment Roundtable.
Coming at you next.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dustin might actually stick around for a little bit.
I might.
You never
Maybe.
know.
You never know.
Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. May God bless you, and may God bless these United States of America.
See ya!